everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you watched the Quilter Nation series over the weekend, you probably saw a few moments that had you scratching your head, shouting at the TV, or maybe even both. The All Blacks win over Scotland was packed with action, but one particular try in the opening minutes has absolutely exploded online. I'm talking about Cam Roigard's try. Now, Roigard's finish was clean, but the build-up? That's where the controversy lies. It all started with the break from the second row, Josh Lord, and it sparked a massive debate about the rules of the game. So what happened? Picture this. It's early in the game. A breakdown occurs around the halfway line. The All Blacks lock, Josh Lord, who seems to be part of the ruck, suddenly picks up the ball from the base, bursts through the Scottish defensive line completely untouched, and offloads to set up the opening try. Too many watching, it looked like a clear penalty. How can a player bound into a ruck just pick up the ball and run? It felt like he was cheating the system. The online forums and social media blew up. Fans were asking, isn't that illegal? Why wasn't that penalized? The confusion was everywhere. To make matters even more complicated, just a short time earlier, in the Japan versus England game, we saw something that looked almost identical. Japan's tight head prop, Shuhei Takeuchi, made a similar move. He was at a breakdown, appeared to pick the ball up from within the structure, and tried to play it. But this time, the referee, John Lukanecki, blew his whistle immediately. Penalty against Japan. So, you have to place that, to the naked eye, look exactly the same. One leads to a try, the other to a penalty. Naturally, this is when the conspiracy theories started flying. People were claiming there's a bias that bigger teams like the All Blacks get away with things that other nations don't. It's an easy conclusion to jump to when you see such contradictory outcomes back to back. But as is often the case in the complex world of rugby refereeing, the truth is a lot more nuanced than just referee bias. And who better to clear it all up for us than the legendary former referee, Nigel Owens? On World Rugby show Whistle Watch, Nigel broke down both incidents with perfect clarity, and the explanation is all about one tiny but crucial detail, the definition of a ruck. Let's start with the Japan incident, the one that was penalized. Nigel Owens explained it very simply. In that situation, you had players from both Japan and England on their feet, bound over the ball. That, by definition, creates a ruck. The moment a ruck is formed, a new set of rules kicks in. One of the most important rules is that no player in the ruck can use their hands to play the ball. As Owen said, if a player is bound in the ruck and he puts his hand down and picks the ball up, you can't play the ball with your hands in the ruck. For Takeuchi to legally play that ball, he would have had to detach himself completely from the ruck, step away, and then, if the ball was out, he could pick it up. By picking it up while still being part of that ruck formation, he committed an infringement. The referee made the right call. It's a fundamental rule designed to maintain structure and safety at the breakdown. So, if that's the rule, why wasn't Josh Lord penalized for doing what looked like the exact same thing? This is where the genius of the All Blacks play and the keen eye of the referee come into focus. Nigel Owens points to the key difference. In the All Blacks versus Scotland match, when Josh Lord approached the breakdown, there were no Scottish players on their feet and bound onto the New Zealand player on the ground. You had the tackler and the ball carrier on the floor, and you had Lord arriving. But because no Scottish defender came in to legally contest and bind over the ball, a ruck was never formed. Let me repeat that. A ruck was never formed. As Nigel Owens clarified, the key difference is not a ruck. You don't have any Scottish players on their feet bound onto that New Zealand player, so you don't have a ruck. Without a ruck, the situation is classified simply as a tackle, and the rules for a tackle situation are very different. The law that prevents players from using their hands in a ruck doesn't apply because, legally speaking, there was no ruck to be in. Lord was there for not picking the ball up asterisk in a ruck asterisk. He was picking it up from a tackle situation. This is a subtle but absolutely critical distinction. In a tackle situation, as long as the arriving player comes from their side of the ball through the gate, they are legally entitled to pick the ball up. Lord did exactly that. He was on his feet, came from an onside position, and the ball was available. He had one leg positioned behind the ball, which was in front of him, making his action perfectly legal. He saw the opportunity, realized no ruck had formed, and exploited the space that the Scottish defense had left open. It was a heads-up play, not an illegal one. So, this wasn't a case of inconsistent refereeing or favoritism. It was a case of two different scenarios being governed by two different sets of rules. In one, a ruck was clearly formed, making it illegal to handle the ball. In the other, a quick-thinking player recognized that the conditions for a ruck hadn't been met, allowing him to legally pick up the ball and create a try-scoring opportunity. It's a master class in understanding the letter of the law. For players, it shows the importance of knowing the rules inside and out. For fans, it's a great reminder of just how complex and detailed the game of rugby can be. What might look the same on the surface can be entirely different from a legal standpoint. This is also a huge lesson for defensive players. The Scottish players at that breakdown were not quick enough to form a counter-ruck. By not getting into a position to legally contest for the ball on their feet, they inadvertently left the door wide open for Lord. They failed to create the ruck, and in doing so, they gave the All Blacks a legal loophole to exploit. It was a moment of defensive hesitation that cost them 7 points. It highlights how every split-second decision at the breakdown can have massive consequences on the outcome of the game. Think about the skill and game awareness required from Josh Lord in that moment. In the heat of an international test match, with bodies flying everywhere, he had the presence of mind to assess the situation in a fraction of a second. He saw the ball. He saw the lack of a Scottish player bound over it. He knew the rule book, and he acted decisively. It's that level of rugby intelligence that separates good players from great players. It's not just about being big and strong. It's about being smart. And for us as fans, understanding these nuances makes watching the game so much more rewarding. It moves us beyond just cheering for tries and tackles and allows us to appreciate the intricate tactical battles happening all over the field. It's like a high-speed chess match. So next time you see a play that looks dodgy, take a second to consider the specific conditions. Is it a ruck or just a tackle? Are players bound? Where are they coming from? The answers to these questions can change everything. What do you guys think? Did you spot the difference live? Or were you like me and thousands of others, initially thinking the ref had missed a clear penalty? It's a fascinating part of the game. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. It's debates like these that make rugby so engaging. Huge thanks to Nigel Owens for clearing that up for everyone. It's always great to get that expert insight. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to learn more about the finer points of rugby, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. Just like this, we'll be back soon to break down more of the biggest moments from the world of rugby. Until then, take care.